Hello, Higher Side Chatters. How the hell are ya? Holding in there, I hope, despite the dystopian downslide and the controlled demolition of the American Empire. Thank you, Charlie Robinson. But hey, listen. You know it's pretty rare that I do some sort of news update or anything like that, but I still, after 10 years, just haven't found the best way to communicate stuff to you guys. Tacking updates onto the end of 2-hour interviews isn't really very effective, but I know the score. We want to get into the content quickly. I'm always trying to be good about that. Nothing more annoying than 8 minutes of sponsorship ads or a long preamble before bringing in the guest. But I got a few things to throw out, so a dedicated update seems worth it. First and foremost is the Austin, Texas Higher Side Chats Rune Soup crossover event. We had big plans to do like an on-stage thing and a live Q&A, and we just hit too many roadblocks. Venues wanted too much money, but then they also couldn't provide chairs or drinks or food or something. We just had a lot of logistical issues. But then the clouds parted and one of Gordon's people presented him with a great venue that has food and drink, and we decided, screw it. This doesn't have to be a ticketed event. Let's just make it a free, casual meetup kind of thing, which is great, but because of the venue's size, we decided it's also gotta be a members-only meetup. Probably a bummer to some, but we want to show the appreciation, especially these days, for sticking with us. You already support us, so the event being free makes sense. And we won't completely flood this place beyond capacity, so it seemed like the move. And I said all this on the end of the last show, but it was a pretty controversial and polarizing episode, one that I know a lot of people didn't finish, so I thought it deserved better. So if you're in or want to be in Austin, Texas on June 25th, you can come have food and drinks with me and Gordon and a lot of other people who you probably would enjoy hanging out with, as we all like a lot of the same stuff. If you're a Plus member, just log in to thehighersidechats.com and click on the big event banner at the top and fill out the form, and you're on the guest list. Yes, you can bring friends and spouses. It's not some super strict thing, but we just have a cap, so don't sleep on it too long if it's something that interests you. And so that's the big one, and really I could just give that to Plus members, but the other thing, which is more for everyone, is that my YouTube timeout is over, and we got the Spotify feedback. Can you believe it, people? Wow. I honestly had no idea how many people used Spotify to listen to THC, and it does make me a little sad. But almost every post for the last 2 months that I put up, either social media or just some stupid meme or whatever, at least one person is like, hey, what happened to THC on Spotify? And this happens time and time again, where we get removed from somewhere, or we get put into YouTube timeout, and I try to say something about it in the next episode, but those people don't hear it because they're still waiting for me to show up on whatever that platform is. And really, guys, every time someone asks me what happened to THC on Spotify or YouTube, an Archon gets its wings, all right? I try to be a pretty clear communicator and keep things simple, and I also try not to dwell on cancel culture or censorship or strikes or any of that kind of stuff. That's a me problem. But now that we're back in both places, I can take the opportunity to say that third-party platforms are really not the best place to follow THC. Sure, they're good places to discover the show, but it should be obvious that we're walking a tightrope on any of these platforms and our days are numbered. On YouTube, I can just opt to not include certain episodes, and I do that. But on Spotify, if it's in the feed, then it's in the feed. But I just wanted to address some things that I'd heard, like Spotify is just so much easier, or I like having all the shows in a big list. Well, I'm going to shill my own website first. For Plus and non-Plus listeners, we have a cool category Netflix-style display now, which is a great way to explore older shows by topic. A really robust search also by topic, and everything's tagged to be about the content that the episode includes. And you can simply go to the archive on the menu bar and get the same kind of list you get on Spotify. And I would put my own podcast web player up against Spotify any day. We did a lot of work on it this past year, and it's super easy, and it's clear, and it doesn't freeze half as much as Spotify's does for me. So there's that. But a podcast should be a podcast, which means you should access it through the RSS feed. You should have an app that you plug your feeds into, like Podcast Addict or Podverse. It's like your own custom streaming site, and that is the way it really should work. Podcast player apps are all neutral. And now, thanks to Adam Curry with the Podcasting 2.0 database, our shows aren't even in the hands of Apple. And most modern apps are connecting to the new database for their search function, so that makes shows like the Higher Side Chats really difficult to shut down. It just takes a little technical knowledge on your part. So the news is that, yes, we are back on those two places that we've been absent from for months, but I'm talking directly to those people and pleading with them to connect in a different way. We're all creatures of habit, I get it, but if I get shut off on these places again, don't expect me to answer literally hundreds of individual comments and tech support threads and all this stuff. The answer to why we aren't there should be obvious. If we aren't there, then we've been removed or banned or whatever, and you should be a bit more tactical with your online experience anyway. If my website goes down, well, we got problems. But as long as I can keep that intact, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I do also have a sign up for the Higher Side Chats newsletter on the website, and I never really put out any newsletter. I prefer to communicate via the show itself, via the RSS feed. But if something serious were to happen, I would use whatever email list I have to get the word out. So sign up for that if you would like to know in that sort of situation. But honestly, I just don't use it like a good content creator should. I get enough BS emails, and I assume you feel the same way. So that's more of a, in case of emergency, break glass. And that's also really the main stuff. The Higher Side Soup event in Austin next month and the return to the corporate-controlled platforms that we have no business being on anyway. Of course, it is probably my fault for getting people used to the Higher Side Chats in these places to begin with, but this is where we're at. Also, while I got you, I guess I should say that Plus members who want to request guests, I did go into the guest request forum thread and take out all the recommended guests and made my own list to comb through anytime I got free time. So feel free to add more and I'll go through those as well. I guess on the flip side of that, even though I don't do a ton of interviews on other shows and I'm not really an expert on anything, I might as well say that I'm totally open to it. And if you like other shows that you want to see me on because you think I'd vibe well with the host or whatever, with a kid now, I guess no promotional push is too much. So put the feelers out for me, guys. I need to stop being so lazy on that and probably do a round of other interviews to talk about what we got going on around here. Word of mouth is what it's all about. So I appreciate the support. I don't mean to come off grumpy about this stupid YouTube, Spotify stuff, but I just don't like sounding like every other podcaster, and I don't like them getting so much real estate in my head or being that big a part of what we got going on. Obviously, if you really like the show, Plus is the best. You get a whole second hour, and we're more intimately connected via the comments and the forums and email. So if there was any real drama, you would be the first to know. But thanks for caring and listening either way. I hope I see a lot of you guys in Austin. I guess we are driving the Higher Side Mobile back out there with the fam. 19 hours in the car, one way, no big deal. But it's looking like we're going to be there on the 25th from like 5 to 10. So a long time to come hang out and compare notes and all that. It's also Gordon's birthday. And this will be my final word on third-party platforms. We're there until we're not, and then you can decide to either give up on the Higher Side Chats or follow us where we will be, the website, and by extension, the RSS feed. But I've got a killer new episode coming out for you guys tomorrow, probably unexpected, and certainly one of our favorite subjects to get into, and I'll see you then. Take care of you and yours, be good to each other, keep your pimp hand strong, this is the way, and praise be to He.